we go. All right, so we missed a little bit in the beginning there, but I'll be going over enough of the other projects that we should be able to get everything in there. Yeah, so pre and post infinity, you can see it kind of lightly coming in here and then going out right here. So if I scale back, you can see more of what that's doing. You can see the curves here and see how they are coming to a point here, more like how our ball assignment was, where they were accelerating in and out instead of an ease in, ease out, slow down, slow in, slow out. To correct that, a lot of times you have to check your infinity first and then select these two if they're not connecting right. And in this case, I would flatten these. And then you can see it's making a nicer transition here. Okay. And that's not always the case. So when you start offsetting things like these right here, that may not be the answer. You may actually have to come in and angle the curve or the tangent down for it to connect in with the other side. Okay, so like with these, I would probably do this. Yeah, so either clamped or with clamped, a lot of times you have to come back in and grab these and flatten them to get them to connect again. Okay, so this is the elbow. So sometimes you want to grab this and then shift select from the shoulder, shift select the elbow. And then you can look at the Y rotate here. And then I think it's control shift, the second rotation. So everything's keyed the same here. So this is not going to create the overlapping action. And also this curve seems to flatten out here, which, you know, I would expect it to be kind of following something similar. They're doing a little bit something different right here, but everything again is just kind of on the same same keyframes here. So with the elbow, you can grab this curve here, hold shift down and just drag it a couple of frames down the timeline so it happens later. And it looks more like the animation might be off in terms of like just the poses. So from here, as the arm is swinging back, we would probably expect to see it more up like this. And then this would have to be the same. So let's just say -34. And this one would be the same. And then from here, we would start to see it swinging. Okay, let's try that. Oh, so I'm not lined up here, right? So set my end frame there. I think I need to cycle it. So the cycling turns on per channel here, or per controller. So usually I just grab everything and turn it on so I don't have to keep doing it over and over again. So we'll do that, and we should start seeing it here. There it is. Okay, and like this one needs to do more like that. Here we go. Let's see if that does it. Why it's doing that. I think I just need to take it back to here. Let's try that. There we go. So yeah, so if you start sliding this, that was my mistake down here, was just sliding this to get over to here. So you still want to keep your time slider set to 32 so you don't have it picking up those additional frames down here and then popping back. Okay, so this is just starting to do that. I'm going to slide it down one more here. And I think it might just be that it needs to be a little bit more extreme curve. And then you can see they're not lining up right now here. And then these two, this one. So this is delaying it, so it takes a little longer. And then something here. So it's got a little stutter because that's not lining up right now. So so we got negative 40, negative 40 over here.
Interesting.
Okay, so now they're lining up. Got a little bobble right there. Okay, so let's play that now. So now you're starting to see the elbow move independently from the shoulder. Are you seeing that now?
Yeah, I'm seeing it.
Okay. So I'm going to pull these down just a little more. Yeah, and then it gets, you can really push it even more with the hand. So the hand is going to follow behind even further. So here's the hand. So it doesn't, I don't think you've gotten to this animation, right?
No, I haven't.
Okay, yeah, so putting the drag on the hand is sort of the next thing, and what I'll typically do is just come in here and kind of wipe out my old keyframes, start fresh. So on frame 1, it's the arm is swinging back, so you want to have this sort of tipped forward, and you can also do some other things, you know, with like this kind of creates a little bit more of an attitude and style as you start kind of angling the hands. And then you can also angle this as well. So you can tip this in like that. So it's got a rotation where it's kind of crossing in front of the body a little bit. Okay, so I'm just going to undo that. Okay, so I'd set a keyframe there. And on your tangents, see how those came in as non-weighted curves? So under here, make sure that you have your animation set to weighted. And then moving forward, they should do that. Okay. So I'm going to go there and actually I'll just copy this. Paste. So it's just starting to swing forward right there. So the curve's, probably just a little bit off right now. Yeah, so it looks like it's pushing instead of dragging. So we can take this curve here and try doing that. So see how it's kind of flowing behind the action now?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then you can push it if you want it to be more extreme. That's too much. And then it probably needs another keyframe, right? So it's going back right here. It could probably, yeah, I think it's just probably too extreme. There we go. All right, so that's how the drag works here. It's easier to just kind of get your keyframes in there and start sliding the curve down. And this is just one of the rotations right here, the Y rotation. You should also have some rotations going on, especially for when it's in the back like this, to have it do, let's see, how do I usually do it? So I might curve it in and do something like that. Okay, because there's usually some kind of rotations going on here with the hand, so it's not just moving on one axis. And then same thing here, you can also rotate this. So I put more of the rotation down here on the wrist than I should have. Okay. All right. Yeah, so that's really what I see. That's where the jerkiness is coming from. It's just the type of curve that you have in here. You just need to come in here and either spline it like this or use clamped. Clamp will usually force you to have to come in and change your in and out points here for infinity because it's going to mess up the connection there. So either auto or spline right here will, I'd probably say spline in this case. Spline tangents make a better connection for the infinity.
Okay.
And then for little things like this where I see the curve, this curve is going down and then it's on its way up, but then I see it going the opposite direction right here, I would question this because this is suddenly turning it in the wrong direction. So is that this one right here? That's for here. So I would probably just take that out and then yeah, so you can see how he's shaking up here in his upper body. That's probably, yeah, so stuff like this, you want to just take a look at your curves here because they're starting and stopping. So for the rotation on this up here, it's usually like this. It's usually like the halfway point here, and then these are gone. Okay, so it's just deleting some of the curves. And then making sure that this connection isn't abrupt like that. See how the tangents are going the wrong way? Just flatten those out. And this one we already got. Let me just check here. So I would just flatten those again just to smooth them out. So see how the jerkiness went away here on that rotation from doing that? I know it's plain slow. I think my computer's just bogged down a little bit, but the jerkiness is gone from there. So I think that's all you need to do. And then same thing with the hips. There's a double beat on the hips happening right here. So if we click here, we can see the same thing is going on here. So this is because you didn't do a mistake. It's just we were keying all instead of keying individual channels. So with this rotation, it's the same thing. Like these need to come out. And then I would grab all of these and spline them like that. So they're nice and curved. And here and here. So I'm leaving the one on 17 in place, taking the others out and splining. And here, oops, here. So it's basically just, it's twisting. So everything on the center line of the character is rotating side to side. Okay, so unlike the feet and the arms, which will have more keyframes on it, these are just going to pivot back and forth. And again, just splining it. So now if we look at the hips, we can see them doing that now. Okay. And for this rotation, they could probably go even more. So that's this kind of motion here. So you may want to just push that a little higher. And then you'd have to do the opposite over here. So whatever you do here, so if you take this to like an 8 or something, then these need to go the opposite. Okay. All right.
All right, I got it.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. And there's a bunch in here now. So let's see. Connor?
I probably want to upload a more recent one of what I'm doing after I finish offsetting the arms, but
Okay. Sounds good.
that was before I got the feedback from the shotgun post.
Okay. So go out here to the one that was a little older. Oops, did I just lose that? There we go. All right. So I may have loaded this a couple times here. Yeah, I think so. All right, so which one is this? All right. All right, so let's just play this. Yes, it's coming together. I mean, there's probably just a little cleanup happening on the curves.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like his, might just be the timing on here, but I feel like the legs kind of stay back there a little longer. Like this foot is hanging behind here longer than
Mhm.
it should.
Yeah, my roommate kind of noticed that, but I tried fixing it and I made it shorter, but I
Okay.
didn't fix it completely.
All right, so let's take a look here. Yeah, so I can already see some of the tangents here you need to go in and fix, like this one.
Oh, okay. Mhm.
Yeah, so that's some of the jerkiness. Let's take a look at like that. And so it almost feels like it's different on the other foot.
Oh, really? It
Yeah.
could be.
Yeah. No, I think it's happening on both sides the same, which is good.
Okay.
Let's just check the timing on it. So, let's just go through the poses here. Yeah, so you've got to rotate here on this
Mhm.
instead of, usually you don't want to do any rotations
Oh,
until
okay.
the foot is off the ground. And what you
Oh,
want
okay.
to rely on is, so if I flatten that out, what you want to rely on is this to get that for you.
Oh, okay.
So then I can tell it either needs to come out to here to straighten out. So now
Mhm.
it's balancing the leg out a little bit more.
Okay.
So we can try that. And then if I look back here, yeah, so you still have some rotation in here. It's probably messing stuff up.
Okay.
And then, so I would give it, instead of straightening it like that, I usually back off just so there's a little bit of a bend.
Yeah.
And that, then you'll need to switch those out. And then that looks good. So in the case of this right here, see how the tangent's broken?
Mhm.
So it's not connecting right here.
Okay.
See how it's not connecting? So because I don't think it is. That one's connecting. I think this one's not. So
Yeah, I don't think I messed with that one like that.
yeah, so it just needs to angle down, I think. And then that one's angled right. Yeah, so I think what's messing you up is the rotation that you did on
Okay.
here. Yeah, so no rotations until it until he picks his foot up, like through here. Like once it leaves this point here. So I think that's also what's going on. So here's frame 5. So that's why it looks like his foot's hanging out back here too long, because it is.
Okay. Okay.
So the heel ball is off, and as far as like posing goes, it should be, oh yeah, so see there is some rotation here. So let me just zero it out to start with. So it probably needs to be, so this is where his toe is actually still hitting the ground here. So yeah, so this is where you want to start doing this. So it's a combination of, see, I actually have to look at my reference here.
I have
Okay.
the reference on a layer, the image plane.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
I may not have it in here though. I would have to have the same image plane.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I think you just need to check those poses here, especially this down pose.
Mm-hmm.
So that looks correct. That's correct. Oh, then you've also got like some funny stuff with the curves here like this.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So, and I may have just caused that, I'm not sure.
Oh, okay.
So that's just coming from this tangent, like going way out here. Actually, we could just do that. There we go. I fixed it up. Yeah, then your pose on here. So the down pose, the toe is still touching like this, and you've got the front foot correct right here where it's flat on the ground.
Okay.
But see, yeah, let's see if there's any rotation. Yeah, so there should be 0 rotation and flat on the ground. Okay, so just check this back foot here as far as like, you could do a little toe up down if you need to get the foot from not touching the
Oh,
floor
okay,
or
okay.
going through the floor because he's got big feet. But it does feel like it's kind of lingering back a little too far here, like maybe. Yeah, maybe somewhere right around there. Okay. And then for the arms, yeah, so I saw some little stuttering going on here. So it's probably stuff like this. You want to just, have a kind of a cleaner
Okay.
thing going on here.
Should I delete some of those frames to make it smoother?
I mean, you can like, delete some of these. The tangent's broken right here, so it's not connecting back over to here. So just check some of your tangents.
Okay.
Do that. Yeah, I see you've got the dragon here, but I think just, I'm guessing just some of the curves needs a little attention here.
Okay.
Yeah. And he's got such a wide stride going on, you could almost push this arm swing even more if you wanted to.
Okay.
If you really want to have the hands kind of flipping up here at the top before they go back.
Okay.
So, yeah, you're kind of doing it right here. And, don't be afraid to like change some of the postures here and or the poses on the hands. So you could like unwrap this a little too as he's
okay.
crossing the front here. Maybe his little finger points up or something like that. And then it curls up more when it goes to the back. So that will
Okay.
give it more of a looser type look. So you can do something like that. And then that all looks good. Yeah, it looks like you did all the center line stuff fine.
Yay.
Yay. Yep. Yeah, cool. So I think just it's mainly that pose on frame 5, that down pose that looks a little off. It looks like that's why the feet are sort of dragging behind there.
Okay.
Okay, cool.
I was having issues with like leaning him forward when he steps down because I think it looks kind of funky.
Oh, that he's leaning back?
Well, I wanted him to lean back because he's like putting his chest down. He's like
Right,
cool
right.
or whatever.
Yeah.
But I wanted like to show the weight, so he leans forward when he steps down.
Right.
But it just looks weird for some reason.
Yeah, sometimes it could just start looking like he's shaking.
Yeah.
So were you going down the chain like this and trying to set keyframes on here?
Yeah, I
Looks like
think I
you
just
were.
did the bottom one, and I don't think I did all of them. Just did a couple.
So that's more the side to side right there. And then is this where you were having the issues with the,
I don't remember. I just know it. I don't know. I tried, but then it came out looking weird or like
this?
jerky, I guess.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
because it's moving the whole body so much, yeah, it's going to look a little jerky.
Okay.
And I just did something right there. But it looks like you did one keyframe right there, so that could be, see how he's like kind of popping right there? That
Mhm.
might be it. So instead of from down here, like, because that moves, it's FK, so it's moving everything above it like
Okay.
that, which will
Mhm.
make him look really jerky. I'd probably take that rotation out and then use the chest here, which it looks like you did. So I think this is where you were doing it, right?
Okay.
Yeah. So I think that's successful. And what happens if we push it? Yeah, so then I think you have to do the follow through with the head because the head's a
Okay.
little off.
Mhm.
And then I don't know if you want to take these down. Usually I'll just push it really far to see what it does.
Mhm.
Yeah, so now you can see it looking really kind of wonky. And then let's see if we delay it a little bit here. Yeah, if you kind of, don't look at the head right now,
Mhm.
when you look at the body,
Mhm.
I think it's working. So maybe just try pushing it a little bit more
Okay.
and then have a little bit more ease in and ease out so it's not so jerky.
Okay.
I think that was one of the reasons they were pretty tight, not quite ball bounces, but there was not enough of an ease in and ease out or
Okay.
transition. So maybe try that. And then you could always come back and do just a little bit on this one right here. It doesn't look like you did, but you could, copy that information down to this, this controller
Mhm.
on that X rotation. And then it would be happening before. So it would happen like a couple frames before
Okay.
or a frame before, and then I would like tone it way down, like bring the curve
Okay.
way down. So that would
Okay.
probably help with that. And then the head would follow through last. So the curves that you have on the head could follow that same thing. You could probably paste them in here for this.
Okay.
So actually, this is more like what it should do. This is
Mhm. Okay.
probably more subtle. So I would take this curve and copy it down
Okay.
here. Yeah, so see how this is more sharp?
Mhm.
This is more subtle, this one. This is more of what you should have here, just so it flows better.
Okay.
Like this should be kind of the hero curve here. So this is happening on 25 and 10, and it probably needs to go way down, like
Oh.
somewhere down around here. And then the neck would be like a frame behind, like that.
Okay.
Okay, so try that, and that will give you that sense of weight on there.
Cool.
Cool. Right. Yeah, it's looking good. And also your tangents, some of them seem to be also they're mixed. Like
Oh.
I've seen some of them like this and some like that. So
I think
just,
it's because I work on it at the library, so like on a different computer each
Yeah.
time. So sometimes I forget to change the settings.
yeah, and this is, unfortunately, they turned this off. This used to be the default.
Hmm.
So you didn't have to go in here and turn that on, but every time you do that, you have to change computers. You have to make sure this is checked on.
Okay.
Yeah, I know it sucks. Like a little reminder.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's all looking good.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Uh-huh. All right, and then back to here. And download that one. All right. So next one here, let's take a look at it. Let's see if I can do a play blast.
I already uploaded the Play Blast to Shotgun.
Oh, okay. I could go to that next too. So try that. Yeah, I just see like a little hitch going on in the arm right there, the rotation. So it's right there. This,
That one, yeah.
yeah.
I actually, what was working at the same time, I actually fixed that.
Oh, you did? Okay, yeah. So it's a real common thing just because we're keying everything. Like a lot of times I just take everything out and it fixes the problem. Yeah, no, it's fine. Yeah, but you've got really nice overlapping action. I see one more little pause or something, maybe right here. Yeah, that one. All right, so that's flowing now. And then we'll take a look at that. I thought you had animated that. Have you not animated the hands yet?
I have, I
Oh,
was
okay.
actually doing it.
Oh, okay, you're right in the
That
middle
one's a
of it.
little bit older, yeah.
Okay, cool.
The only problem that I have, it's the feet, like frame around like 1,
Mhm.
they stop and then they move again. Yeah, right there.
I would just take it down to 32 when you're repeating it. Does that fix it?
I think so. Yeah, that fixes that. But
Yeah,
like
so it's just it's a double frame. So if 33 is the same as 1, so if it's in the playback,
uh-huh.
then it's going to repeat itself and look like a pause, like it stops for
Oh, I see. Then
1/24 of a second.
should I delete the 33rd frame, or I mean the keys
Um,
on the 33rd frame?
Now it needs to be in there to loop around for doing the animation. It's just in the playback. You can bring it back to 32. So if you
Mhm.
set this to 32 and then you do your this, you can say, I think it will cover just what's in this right here. See here. Yeah. Yeah, it's just going to cover what's in the timeline right here.
Oh, I see.
Okay. yeah, let's just take a look at anything else here. Yeah, I mean, it's all looking great. So, I mean, just tiny little things like that. And hips. Looks good. Yeah, everything's connecting. Yeah, so this is really like moving along here. You may want to add some of that overlap on the upper body here, the chest. So it looks like you haven't animated the head yet, right?
No, I haven't gotten to that. I was gonna
Yeah.
perfect like everything and
Okay.
go to ahead. But
Yeah, so with this, it looks also too like it's going forward and back. Like I'd almost take out these guys. Maybe even just do that. And then go to that. See how this one's kind of bobbling over here?
oh yeah.
Yeah, so try to, yeah, just look at your curves here. Even like this where it's going one direction, then it comes down like that. These probably need to go like that. Same thing here. Okay, and this is more of a flowing action up here. So this only happening from 13 to 25.
Mm-hmm.
It probably really needs to happen, you know, all the way across the, you know, 33 frames from here.
Oh,
Or like
okay.
what I did like this.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Right. And then stop this here. Yeah, so this rotation here, see what it's doing here. Oh yeah, so that's kind of creating that forward motion there. So yeah, so instead of doing it from here, you're doing it more from here, like this.
Yes.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, so it's moving in line with the steps or delayed from the steps here. So this one may actually need to move down. It's the only thing.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of the equal distance right there. I'm just kind of eyeballing it. I guess that looks right. Yeah, and then you can try exaggerating it too. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, looks good. So, I mean, it's moving along. Looks great.
Awesome. Thank you. I have one question though.
Uh-huh.
So the buttons for the actual like curves and everything, there's a button. There are two curves, and then between them a arrow. Like in the in the graph editor where the buttons are for all
Uh-huh.
the yeah
Here,
so yeah the ones that are two curves and then an arrow in between, a little bit to the right. Yeah,
this.
that one. What does that do? Because like every time I move a key, there's like it like it saves the spot where it is in gray, and then I would have to keep pressing that to remove it. I don't know what I'm doing.
Oh, so this is like buffering your curve, like if you're doing a comparison. It will buffer it into just the memory of the graph editor, so you have a reference for
Oh,
where
I
you're
see.
coming from.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's, maybe you have to select a line and then do it. So it keeps doing that with you?
It keeps actually showing the buffer, and it's kind of annoying because I have to keep clicking
Yeah,
that to
so
get
there it
rid of
is
the
right there, the
buffer.
gray
Yeah.
one. Yeah.
Yeah. Is there a
Um,
way to remove like the buffer completely?
yeah, now I've got it on mine. It will probably never go away. Um,
Sorry.
So that's what you have to keep doing is this,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Every time I move anything, I have to do that.
Swap.
Yeah, I figured out that the swap just keeps moving it back to the buffer, like where it was originally.
Mm-hmm.
But the other one is the only button I keep pressing and it disappears, but I can't get rid of it.
Yeah. Yeah, so mine's doing it now.
Sorry.
So, and it happens every time you load it up?
Uh, I haven't tried that yet. I'm gonna actually do that.
Yeah, it seems like it, usually you hit Q and it ends a process and it stops doing stuff. But for here, it looks like it's,
But there's an offer for, yeah.
I will look that up because I haven't had this come up before. Yeah, I'll look that up and
Oh,
see if
I
there's
think
a
I think
way.
I see it in view. There's like there's an option saying show buffer curves, I think. Oh, now it's gone. Yeah.
Oh, right here. Yeah, so
Yeah.
it does come back on. That's what I was looking for. Yeah. Yeah, just like Infinity will stay on through sessions, unless you turn it off. So will the pre and post Infinity.
Mm-hmm.
So if you do something that's not a cycle and you've got cycle turned on, it's going to try to cycle your animation. So you have to
Oh,
go
I see.
back to constant.
Oh, I see.
If you're working progressively, like walking a character, it's jumping forward or something, not standing here in the center doing a cycle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that'll like throw students off too. Like you have to turn it back to constant because it will remember that you posted infinity cycle here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, so good. So that's just view and getting rid of that. And then if we go to a curve, yeah,
Oh,
so it's
okay.
gone there. All right, yay.
All right.
All right,
Awesome.
figured that one out. All right. So,
Thank you.
uh-huh. All right, and here. I should probably just keep that open and just load up new ones. All right. So is this helpful for everybody, even if I don't get to everyone's individual animation? Is this kind of helping everybody in terms of
Yes.
seeing other issues?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
Okay, so let's play this one. All right, so I'll come back to the head in a minute, even though that's where my eye keeps going. Let's kind of look at the mechanics here.
Yeah, I think I realized a little bit too late. I did something weird with feet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like the heels are going through here. See that?
Yeah, like I'm trying
Yes.
to go back and fix them because I realized I probably put the rotate in the wrong area.
Yeah, so you're doing the same thing. So whenever the feet are on the ground, you should be using the heel ball here because this will recognize the floor. And then also these guys should be zeroed out, which they are. That's, I think, the swing. There's that. Yeah, so it starts getting a little, reach a zero. That's going to bring it back to there, which we don't want. So yeah, why is it going through the floor here? This is getting keyframe, just FYI right there. So
Okay.
let's see why this is going through. So it looks like this has got, yeah. So I would expect to see that when the foot's coming up, and then here it needs to be zeroed out. And then same thing with your tangents, like all your, I don't know if it's all of them, let's see. Yeah, so they're all non-weighted, so you want to switch them to weighted. And then I'm not sure why this guy's out here. So 32. Is that because you've slid some of the keys down here for offsets? Is that what's going on there?
Yeah, I did some offsets
Oh,
mainly
okay.
for the head.
Okay. Let's see here. All right, so these are at different points here. So these need to line up to connect here. So if I do the infinity on here. Come on, there we go. So we can see those lining up now. So if they're flat like
Yeah.
this, it's gonna create a little jerking action right there.
Yeah, I started to notice because I went back to some of the parts and I noticed that wasn't connecting well.
Yeah, I sort of feel like he's pulled up a little too high, like his legs are, Yeah, I think it's more the floatiness right now. Like I wouldn't mess with this yet. I would try to come in here and fix the feet.
Okay.
Yeah, there's just a lot of rotations here. Like this foot should have no rotation on it. It should be zeroed out here, 0 here. And then for some reason it's going through the floor, which I'm not sure why. Actually, I think that's it right there. So you've pushed it through the ground. The main
Okay.
controller here, which moves the whole character. That's the root control, or the
Okay.
main control. Just zero that out. And with this controller, it should not have any, oops, anything in here. So no keyframes on here. So let's see why this is still going through the ground. Yeah, I'm not seeing what's pulling it through the ground here.
Could it be because I might have rotation?
That's it. Yeah, so I wouldn't even rotate this toe at all right now. Like you don't really
Okay.
need this toe controller. Yeah, so that might be it too. So now he's kind of jumping. So yeah, I would say
Yeah.
just clean the feet up first before you start working on anything else. And then you may have to come back and do an adjustment on the root.
Okay.
But I don't think so. Like this looks pretty decent right here. You may just have to do some adjustments just in terms of how high it is off of here. Actually, it's not very high, so should be okay. Yeah, so it's mainly the feet.
Okay.
Yeah. And then looks like you're doing offsets on here. Yeah, so just little things, you know, like I don't know if you even need that. Let's watch the arms here. That's nice. So it's rotating in front of the character. Looks cool. Yes, you could probably add just a little bit more drag on the elbow and the wrist. Oops. So that's kind of the main action right here. So as it's swinging forward, you actually, right here, it should actually be going this way.
Okay.
And then you could even straighten the elbow out a little bit more. So as it swings forward, this is all dragging behind, delayed behind the pivoting of the shoulder. So you could do that. And then here, like this could still be delayed back here. There. It looks like it's starting to rotate that direction. So see, I've got my curve going here.
Mhm.
And then as it comes back, you want it to actually flip the other direction. So going up. I'm just going to kind of put it right here maybe. And then this curve, see how these are not connecting because this is flat?
Mhm.
So I can grab this one. Should we just grab them all and here we go. So see how it's trailing behind now?
Mhm.
Okay, yeah, so something like that. And then you can do the same thing with the elbow, like just push
Okay.
that a little bit more. I think it's happening too soon right here. Like this probably needs to be over here. Let's try that. Actually, it's probably happening a little too late. Yeah, it's really swinging now. I probably pushed it a little more, unless you really want it crossing over like that. It's kind of cool though.
Yeah.
I may have just pushed it a little too much. It's this one right here. There. So I think you get the idea. You could probably also apply that on the, I think you're doing it on the spine, right? Here. And yeah, so this would kind of line up with the steps. So as it's stepping forward, probably like what you've got with the head here. Yeah, so something like this. So you could apply that same process down the spine here, just to a lesser degree, and then offset it. So this would happen last. I don't think you, oh, you actually got some animation on here too. Okay. Yeah, I mean, you've got it going here, so I see it happening. I think it's this rotation. This looks like it is happening more on that first one that I selected up here.
Mhm.
Yeah. So just try to make the curve sort of similar. Like this one's got it's happening faster. It's
Mhm.
coming out of that transition faster, where this has got it doesn't happen to the same extent here. Let's see. Maybe it's just the curve needs. Might even need something like that, where it's instead of flat on the bottom here, try doing something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, but I think like these need to come down maybe like that. So wherever you have this kind of happening right on the same keyframes as everything else, like the main keyframes, and it's supposed to be delayed, it's not really going to look like overlapping action until you take it off of those main keyframes. So like this one happening on 5, if you just moved it down to like 6 or 7, it would probably help with that. Oops. Okay. All right. So is that pretty good for everybody here? In terms of like what I've covered here, do you guys need help with anything else?
For me, I was like a bit curious about how to make the head look a bit more natural for mine.
Okay, hang on one second. I've got somebody here. All right, everybody still there?
Yep.
Yep.
Cool. Sorry about that. My sitter had to take off. All right. So you had a question about the head?
Yeah.
So in terms of this, as far as like the weight of it?
Yeah, and like if the I just want to like make sure it's like looks natural because I spent a couple hours trying to fix it for my other one.
Well, there's a lot of side-to-side rotation happening here.
Mhm.
So that gives it more attitude as opposed to weight. But I think that's working here. So that is, that's this right here. So for, yeah, you've got these offsets, so you've moved them down. Yeah, so these have all been moved down. So in terms of this here though, so let's take a look at the neck.
Yeah, I added a bit of like neck animation in there.
You what?
I added some animation to the neck as
You
well.
did. Yeah, so I think that's really what helps give it the weight. And just gonna try moving this back to here. And okay, yeah, so this one is actually a little bit different. So that's the side to side. Let's try that. Oops. So 16, 21. So I'm just kind of minimizing this a little bit. So we've got 11, 12. And then this one's on the beats, right? So you move this 4 frames
Mhm.
forward. So this one feels off. There. So 9. I'm just kind of lining them back up with the original keyframes here. And 33. So he's kind of throwing his head back when I feel like it should be going. So I think what's going on is there's like kind of opposing motions happening here. Like as he's stepping down, his head is rotating back like this.
Mhm.
So I think it needs to almost be the opposite.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like these
Mhm.
curves could almost invert. So maybe try doing that. So then it will feel like as he's stepping down, the weight of the head is coming forward instead of going back.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
And then let's go back to here. There. I think I covered everybody, right? And then Connor, you're still doing
I
revisions?
uploaded a number 7 and then a number 8. So I guess refresh the page.
Yep. 7 and 8.
Yeah, that's number 8. The main thing would be that I offset the arms, but I also had some concerns about the feet and the kickoff, as well as the head bobbling.
Okay. So let's start with the feet. Well, they're going through the floor right there.
Oh.
Yeah, so that's a real common thing. So it's just that's what that toe up down is for. So not this controller right here. This will pivot the whole foot. So it's more right here. And it looks like you did it right there. So right there.
Add the toe like that so it can have a bit of a I'm moving forward curve, so that it would kind of curve in as it was moving forward a little bit. But that did cause it to start clipping through the ground.
Yeah, it's
I
pretty
guess
tough to
adding
do
a
that with him. Yeah.
Hmm?
It's tough to do that with this character. I know it
I-
looks cool doing that, dragging it forward, but then you're going to
Mhm.
have to pick his whole foot up like that.
So
You're going
pick
to
the
have to,
foot up more, and I guess add another frame at 7 to for the toe to make it so that it's not quite clipping yet.
yeah, you're going to start having to put in some in-between frames for the feet where the toe is going through there.
I've done that for the toe slap.
Okay. Like right here.
Hmm.
Yeah, you can almost do something like this with it.
Hmm.
high. Yeah, but you're probably going to need a couple more keyframes in here. Just pulling his leg up a little higher does fix it. But he's got more of a, which kind of fits your character. He's lifting his leg up a lot higher, so it's more of a stomping motion.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, so wrist here. Actually, let's go to the elbow. Okay, so I feel like maybe it's coming back like too early, like it's going in one direction. Maybe something like that.
So,
It was curling up back here when it was getting ready to move forward. So it was coming back here, and then see how it curls here.
mhm. Yeah.
So it kind of stops that flow when you do that.
Okay.
So I just brought it up to here.
And you also brought down frame 11 as well, I think.
Yeah. Was it up here? Yeah. So
Yeah.
I curved it more, so you could actually keep it up here longer, and then maybe do something more like that. And then with this, it feels like it's curving. Let's check that out. So it's here. Yeah, so by here, it may want to start relaxing a little bit. Let's see where it is here. So maybe something more like that. And then this look like they're lining up. Yeah, so maybe something a little bit more like that, just to have it trail behind a little bit more.
All right.
Yeah, and then I didn't check your other rotations, but
Make sure there's no weird bumps.
yeah, just kind of smoothing those out. And what's that scale? It's that one. And there. Yeah, so here I would be kind of suspicious of that. And then even here, I'm not sure you need that. Let's see. So the peak is happening on 17, so that just kind of concerns me that it's, was it back here earlier?
I moved the shoulder forward, I offset the shoulder 2 and then the wrist 4
Okay. Okay. So which rotation
from the
is
original
this?
position. So, yeah.
Yeah, so this is this rotation here, so I'm less concerned about that. That's doing more of a so it just went way out there. So that's kind of curling it more back like that.
I'm using that to basically make it so that the hand curls more in front of the body when it goes to the front. Or at least gives the impression of doing that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I see it here. So see what that looks like. Yeah, I think it just needed to relax or like rotate a little bit in the other direction, this direction here. Yeah, when it was down, grab all of these here. When it was down here. See how it just kind of looks like it's sort of stuck back here?
So I needed to exaggerate the curve a lot more to actually make it move more.
Yeah, and like rotate it in the other direction. That's what I'm trying to get it to do there. There. Yeah, so it really shoots it like way up there. F.
It's actually probably fairly normal when compared to the other curves.
Mm-hmm. So something more like that.
Yeah, you also
Yeah, so just think maybe a little bit more of a curve right here as it goes to the backside. Yeah. And then what was the other question you had? You had a third one,
head bobble.
head bobble.
I'm using both the neck and the head to try to offset each other a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably not working out too much for me, but I think the head is doing most of the up and down motions, but the neck is keeping the head straight and kind of looking forward.
Okay.
Should I eliminate the contact or the 1 and the 34? Because that's what the 17 that you deleted was.
Of this one here.
Yeah. It's it was the contact position equivalent.
Okay. So yeah, he doesn't have a lot of room here with that. So yeah, so the curve needs to have like a double bead on it, like what you have right here, like this curve needs to be carried through like down here, just offset. So like this one doesn't really have that same double beat on it like it does here. See what I mean? Okay.
Yeah. It's the other curve is very much more one note.
Right. So it's kind of missing the weight when it doesn't have that behind it. So I feel like the head is doing it, but it's almost getting countered by the neck.
Can we see what happens when we just delete all the neck keying, break it back down to 0? I think that almost looks better without the neck at all.
Mm-hmm.
They'll probably put more Y into the neck to keep the head focused forward.
Oh yeah, that's the other thing. So you don't have a double beat on here. Is it just, it's just going side to side, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
the that motion is
yeah.
keeping in time with the
The center of the
movement
body. Yeah.
of
This here,
the
right?
up and down is in movement with the contact and posing, the contact and the down, but the Y is, yeah, offsetting the shoulder and the hip.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the Y is actually doing this rotation here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's what the neck was doing.
Right. So the this is the weight right here. This is what's causing it to go this direction.
Yep.
And then this is more of like if you want to put some attitude in there, you can do that. So you do have this beat right here. Do you know what that is?
That might have been a leftover from when I was actually positioning the Y, because I don't know what that happens sometimes.
Okay. So where else you could get the weight working is right here, and it's not there. So this curve, I think, is, especially this one, is going against what it should be doing. So,
It's
you
the
know, try
chest.
to, yeah, that's the chest, which also creates the weight of him moving forward, this motion. You don't want to do it a lot because it's also going to move his arms, but you do want to get a little bit of motion right here. Just undo that. And right now you do have some keyframes in here, but they should, see if I can shift select.
They should try to match the head.
Yeah, but they would be offset. They would happen probably a frame sooner. So this would hit, and then you know, it's going out the chain, the extremities. So character goes into the down pose, and then the weight follows behind it. So this would, you know, come forward first, and then a frame or two later, this would come forward. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I guess I should just offset the head more. Just offset the head after I position everything right with the
Yeah,
torso.
yeah. So getting the chest first, and then coming in, offsetting the head. Yeah. And then this motion here. Yes, I think that's fine. Yeah. Any other questions?
How does it look overall?
Oh, it's coming together. It's just, this little bit of cleanup here is really normal. Just getting the, the overlapping and the sense of weight.
So I
It's
just
just,
need to make sure the arms flow at the moment. They're offset timed correctly, but just need to make sure they flow right. I need to pick up the feet a bit more,
mhm,
and I need to bob not only the upper torso and then offset the head to that.
mhm, correct.
Okay.
Yeah. And then doesn't look like there's anything on these. That's kind of up to you if you want to do any animation on the spine. It just, it can start getting jerky,
Yeah, and then you
everything
have to
like
move
that.
all of the arms.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, you just have to so you can almost get what you need out of the chest one right here, as opposed to like the whole spine. All right. And then did anybody else have an upload in here that I missed?
I had uploaded one on there, but you've kind of been talking to everybody through it, so I've been kind of making little changes to mine.
Okay.
So yeah, my internet's really slow too, so it took me a
Okay.
while just to get that one uploaded. So.
Okay, gotcha. All right. Let me just go back to shotgun. And then with anybody else, questions as far as like where you are, or for next week, try to get as much of the polishing done as possible. And then I'll kind of walk you guys through how to do a setup for making a play blast that's something that you would use on your reel. So what you would turn in. We can cover that next week.
Oh yes, Professor, I was going to ask you about that.
Uh-huh.
Do we still just turn in a regular play blast on Monday on the due date?
Yeah, so I'll probably extend it out. So why don't we make the due date like, is it Monday? Is that when it is? It's already coming up, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just looked on Titanium and it's
Right. Yeah, so let's move it out to end of day on Wednesday. So we'll have one more meeting to go over everything, give you guys feedback. You can address the notes, and then, by end of day, like midnight or so, you can turn it in. Is that good for everybody?
Yes.
Yeah, sounds
Yes,
good.
thank you.
yeah, that works.
All
I
right.
almost forgot a technical question.
Mm-hmm.
You know the yellow thing that tells you what frame you're on? In the curves menu? Mine has mysteriously disappeared.
Where is that? Here?
Yeah.
This thing?
And I don't get any box when I'm highlighting in the curves menu either.
Hmm.
So those two things are missing in my curve menu only. So I'm having to look at the black number that appears to tell me which frame I'm actually on in
Are
relation to
you
the
able
curves.
to do this down here in your timeline?
Oh yeah, I'm still able to move that really easily.
But
It's
you don't
just
see
that
the yellow one going
I don't
across.
see the yellow marker
Wow.
or any of the white letters or white lettering there either.
This?
Yeah, and that's only on the curve box. White lettering is on the keyframe. All that's there, just not in the curves.
So under Windows, settings and preferences, editors. If you go back to Maya Classic and you pull that out separately, let's see what it does. So if you float the window like this, does it look any different?
Okay, let me just say before I start messing with menus.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. That's save. Go to classic. Window. Animation. Graph editor. Yeah, that's there. The white
Okay.
numbers and the yellow markers.
Are there?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if you had a crash or something, but sometimes these workspace shortcuts here that set up your scene like this, they get corrupt. I'm not sure why, but animation is one of them that does get corrupt frequently. So,
Okay. So I just reset the animation from workspace to classic, and yeah, it's there.
so is it working again now? You see it now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why it does that. It's sort of like it gets hung up. So sometimes you can come in here and go edit, restore default settings, save.
How about restoring default settings restores a lot of things.
Yeah, and then if that doesn't do it, a lot of times I'll go in and delete the preferences, especially if you've had a crash.
All right. Thank you. That's been bugging me the entire class session
Sorry
because
about that.
I opened it up today and I was like, "Where's that?" Ugh.
Okay. All right. Anybody else, or we good for today? All right. So I will post the recording of this in a few minutes. It should be linked into Titanium. I'll make a new area out there for you guys under. So weekly uploads. So I'll probably just add another topic right here. And that. Edit that. Do that, and then it will be week 9. And then I'll put the video out here as soon as it's done processing. It'll be linked in here just the same way all the other videos are that take you out to YouTube. Okay. And then I guess if you have any other questions, you can either email or post them out onto Shotgun. I'm finally getting caught up with my other classes that didn't have any course materials, so I should be back on here pretty regularly, giving you guys feedback. All right, so if that's it, if nobody has any other questions, we can end it here and you guys can just take the remainder of the time and continue working and then post work in progress again and I'll give feedback. All right,
Okay.
All right.
cool.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
Good,
see you
thank you.
guys. See you guys soon.
See ya.